Let me show you how I do this drop skin fade with no editing. From when I start the fade process, there'll be no editing, you'll just see it in real time. You put the skin line in where you want the fade to end. It's a number 5 with the grain on top. So on the sides, I'm going to do a number 3 first of all to reduce it. Because with a drop fade, it's not an afro fade, so we want the sides slightly lower than the top. I drop down from the number 3 going down to the number 2. Now I'm just flattening that area. Then I'm going to drop down to the 1.5. Now, I'm going down a little bit lower than I started, because I just want the bottom part now to be flat. Now I'm just going to go up to fade. So from under the skin line, go up to where the bulk of hair is, my invisible line, and flick out. That's with the number 2. Now with the 1.5, go up to just underneath the bulk and flick out. Close the lever, go up to underneath the bulk and flick out. It's important you put invisible lines in so you know where you're going to. Now with the number 1, the open one, I'm just flattening in the bottom part of the fade where I'm going to be fading. Then I'm going to flip it around and go up to my invisible line, which is lower than where I started with the 1.5, and go through and flick out. Close the lever, go through to that same place and flick out. It's important. If you noticed when I started the fade, I was a lot higher. So keep doing this a number of times, combing it out, going through. There's no editing right now, guys, so you can see it in real time and see how it gradually fades out. Now to the open blade. I go from under the skin line through, lower than where I was going to with the number 1, and flick out. Keep going through, flicking out, flicking out, flicking out, flicking out. Then close the lever just a little bit. Then I drop down a little bit lower, go through the skin line and flick out. You may not notice it, but with the open blade, I went to a certain area. Then when I closed the lever a little bit, I dropped down a little bit lower, but you wouldn't fully notice it. But understand, when you're doing a fade, you're supposed to go from one place, and every time you drop down a gauge or you're going down a lower level, come down slightly lower on the client's head. In the shape up right now, as usual, start in one place on the sideline, go up in a straight line. Sorry, because of the angle you can't see it. Then from the middle, go across in a straight line to meet the side line. This video isn't really a tutorial to do with the shape up. It's not even fully a tutorial to do with the haircut. It's more so an exhibition showing you how I do a fade in real time. As you can see, this fade is taking me about, what, a minute 50 seconds, and this is a drop fade. But I want to show you, when I'm doing tutorials, I break it down for you guys to see more, and I maybe go through even more steps so that you guys can have an idea of how to do it. Once you learn the steps, then the whole key and aim is for you to adapt it to your own style. You don't always have to go through every step, but if you're a beginner barber, go through the process and learn it. Right now, I'm stepping away from the haircut and just looking at it, because I'm going to start refining it, looking at areas that need improving, blotchy areas, denser areas. Maybe I've left a line in the fade. This is what you do at the end of a haircut, in my opinion. It's a lot easier at the end of a haircut with fresh eyes to go over it. I always say, when you first go through it, just get through the haircut, spend a couple minutes, a few minutes, and then at the end, refine it. You've been in the cut with Slidercuts. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial / exhibition. If you made it to the end of this haircut, then let me know in the comments, and follow if you're not doing it already.